I definitely feel myself going back into my sad girl era. So, you know, it's just a great time to start a reading vlog. I have some videos, some books here in a pile that I need to goog on because I want to resell them on Pango. So these are not the books that I'm going to be reading. But as I start to goog on these, let's do a little multitask catch up. Despite being not in the best of moods lately, I've just been having some internal crises, nothing crazy or life-changing, but because of that, I just haven't really done a lot of like content around my reading, even though I've been doing an amazing amount of reading. Oh, Bento hears me talking, so of course she's going to come and sort of bother me. I've been doing a lot of reading. If I get the energy at some point, I am going to attempt to do a check-in with figures about my like reading and unhauling and getting rid of my physical TBR stuff, because I've been doing an okay job, which is why I'm also getting rid of some books here, because these are books that I genuinely don't feel like I'm going to read. When I get into my more like down parts of my mood, I tend to read a lot more romance because it's super easy to consume. They are, for the most part, pretty predictable and just no surprises. So I have read a lot of romance lately. I have begun to steer away from, sorry if you want to see the content, I'm just attempting to get these stickers off. I've been starting to get a lot more away from BL manga, which is great because it's not really for me, you know what I mean? But I've been reading some horror, a lot of romance, some smutty stuff. I have been trying to reconnect with a lot of old friends, which is very random. I've been trying to get other people's book recommendations outside of our bookish world. Maybe I'm just having less caffeine, and that's kind of why. I know a lot of my mood changes are just maybe with this like seasonal change. Because we are having like almost 90-degree weather today, when last week it was in the 40s. So there are reasons. I don't know why I'm trying to parse through them right now, but regardless, we are in vlog territory. It makes me laugh because sometimes when I look back at like my vlogs from a few years ago, like early pandemic era, I was just like going through such rough mental health shit that it was really funny to me how I was like sort of cataloging it in vlog form. So, oh my god, this one is so difficult to get the frick off. Ugh. I have a trip this weekend with one of my friends to Cape Cod. We're gonna go out, I think it's like halfway out on Cape Cod. I haven't been there since I was a kid, and I'm actually really excited because we do a lot of trips together, and we kind of just like understand each other's vibes. We know what we want to do. We want to go get the food. We want to go see the things, but like we're not like super heavy planners in this respect. I will work on these and then I will check back in with you and we will take a peek at my shelves, because I don't know the vibe yet. I don't know the vibe. I don't know what I'm feeling when it comes to like, do I want a quick read? Do I want something I can finish while I'm on the trip? I guess it's a vacation. Or do I want to start something and finish it when I get back? There's a lot of options. So that brings us to the unread shelves, which do continue, just so you know. I know Slewfoot is in Massachusetts, because I believe it's dealing with witches. Connecticut. Closed, which is why we struggle constantly. See, this is the problem with owning like a lot of horror and darker books, is when I'm in a down mood, nothing quite seems to fit the vibe of just wanting to not be in a down mood. The Cabinet by Soo Kim, which I picked up in New York. It is cabinet 13, looks exactly like any normal filing cabinet, except this cabinet is filled with files on the symptomers. People with weird abilities and bizarre experiences might just mark the emergence of a new species, but to Mr. Kong, the harried office worker who spends his days looking after the cabinet, the symptomers are just a headache. That seems like it might be good. I have queer little nightmares. Anthology of monstrous fiction and poetry, talking more so about how queerness has been personified as like monsters sometimes. And we have Out There by Kate Folk, which I believe is like an apocalyptic virus type story. I think the one that's going to be the hardest to get into will probably be The Cabinet. So I think I'm going to try to read a little bit of this tonight so that I can get a head start, because the other two are relatively short, but this one I think is almost 300 pages. But both of these are like, I think, basically story collection anthology types, so I can read like a little bit and then move on to the next. These are books that I wouldn't have paired together, like I'm just drawn to them. Anyways, on to the reading. It is, oh gosh, I forgot how much I love this hair. It is the morning of my vacation starting, and I have my book sleeve packed. I have my 3 books. And I did start The Cabinet last night. I don't know how I feel about it yet. I read about 25 pages, the first like little section, and I think it's set in a different format than what I was expecting. So the first section was about this volcano that goes off and literally like unalives everyone in the town except for this one prisoner that was like at the top of this tower because he was being punished for something that they think he saw. And then we move on to a story about people that drink gasoline instead of water. And I'm not sure, again, only 25 pages in, I'm not sure if this means that we're getting the perspective of like somebody rifling through the files in this cabinet of these weird people, the symptomers. I don't know if that's the format that I would want for my trip. I'm gonna bring it just in case I feel the urge to read it again. But in the meantime, I did purchase like 3 smutty ebooks, and I have my Kindle charged up. Pull up my Kindle app really quickly. One of them is by Avita Weiss, and it's Vicious Devotion. This is a sequel to an arc that I read a few years ago called Bound, and so I also re-downloaded Bound because it was pretty short. But I believe it is dealing with like a little bit of Omegaverse, but more so like a lot of like different monsters and species of stuff. I believe this is like a male-male, female-female type romance, so several partners. And then I got Dragon, which is the sequel to Ghost, I believe. This was another reverse harem type book, and in the town they have this very intense like Halloween celebration during October. Everyone dresses up and it's very weird, and I think like the catch is that when they dress up as a monster, that's the monster they are in real life. And then I got something that's probably still gonna be spicy, but it's not as monstery, and it's curated by Nellie Wilson. I have really wanted to read this one since it kind of popped up on my Instagram feed, and it is about a historian and a paleontologist who work at the same museum, and I believe they're both trying to like either have their own exhibit featured or just like do something at the museum. And it starts out with, I think it's a bit enemies to lovers. So I'm gonna go hop in the shower and get ready for this trip, and then I will see you there.
Hold my breath just so I can hold you closer. Hold my heart just so I can feel it break. I'm a lot, but I would never be a loner. To never love in all of my days.
The following book haul is brought to you by Rite Aid brand Mucinex and cough drops because it's Monday, we're back from vacation, and I'm sick. Oh, extra sponsor, Zero Gatorade. I'm not actually sponsored. I just am very sick. I'm getting there. We're in the intro stages of sick. There was not really a lot I wanted to do. I'm not really like a go shopping on vacation type of person, but I had found this really cool looking bookstore slash cafe, and I'll put up like their Instagram here. This was, what the heck was it called? Bread and Roses, and it says good reads, good eats, good folks, good trouble. And so of course I was like, bookstore, like, first of all, the bookstore, from what it appeared, they had like a huge pride flag in the front, so I believe it was very queer friendly, and I was just so excited to be there. I really wish that it was not 2.5 hours away from me, because I would literally just go there after work every day, if not work from home from this coffee shop. It was so cool. They had a very small selection of used books. They had a lot of like zines and like queer stickers and just cool things like that, as well as like a pretty decent selection of new release and backlist titles. So I bought a few things. First one being a book. This is Harrow by Joy Williams, and I've never heard of this before, but it seemed a little apocalyptic. It says, in an uncertain landscape after an environmental apocalypse, a world in which only the man-made has value, teenager Kristen's failing boarding school for gifted students closes its doors. When she finds that her mother has disappeared, she ranges across the dead landscape and washes up at a resort on the shores of a mysterious putrid lake the elderly residents there call Big Girl. It's a rotting honeycomb of rooms. These old ones plot actions to punish corporations and people they consider culpable in the destruction of the final scratch of nature's beauty. I've literally never heard of this book, and I love that. And it was right on the front table, so I was like, hell yeah. And then I also just picked up, I feel like these two are the things that I always get on vacations. I got a pretty mug with like their phrase and stuff on it. Yeah. So I got a little mug. It's a little weird it's not on the side, it's on the front, but you know, to each their own. And then I also picked up a bag of coffee from them. This is Columbia Medium, and oh my god, it smells amazing. I'm gonna have to grind this one up because they're whole beans, and drink this like for the next few weeks. But I'm just so happy that I actually found like a really cool one. And also it is rainbow, if you can't tell. The mug is rainbow. Later we ended up going to a much more heavily populated shopping area in, I guess, like Hyannis proper. We found another used bookstore, which I didn't intend to go to. This was Yellow Umbrella Books, which had new and used books. They had a much larger selection of used books. And I got Rabbits by Terry Miles, which is on my TBR, or it used to be. I think Kayla from Books and Lala talked about it. Says, Rabbits is a mysterious alternate reality game so vast it uses the entire world as its canvas. Since the game started in 1959, 10 iterations have appeared and 9 winners have been declared. The identities of these winners are unknown, so is their reward, which is rumored to include vast wealth, immortality, or perhaps even the key to the secrets of the universe. But the deeper you get, the more dangerous the game becomes. Players have died in the past, and the body count is rising, and the 11th round is about to begin. Enter Kay, a rabbit's obsessive who has been trying to find a way into the game for years. The path opens. I'm not going to say the rest. Okay. Rob Hart is on here, who wrote The Warehouse, which I did really like. That was a very dystopian, I mean, in and of itself, Amazon is dystopian, but it's like a very future dystopian version of an Amazon-like world. Oh, I also got this cool bookmark. It's just, come on, you love zooming. It is just like footprints in the sand, like little animals. So I got that thinking I wasn't going to get a bookmark from the bookstore, and then I did. So those are the books that I got. Our vacation was great. You'll see some beautiful photos of Cape Cod. We had a really good time, and I obviously went into things hoping to maybe read those 3 books that I talked about at the beginning of the video. Spoiler alert, we really dived in deep in just the nastiest smut possible. And because we were really busy out and about doing things, day 1 we went to the beach for a little while, then we went out to dinner, and we were pretty tuckered because the drive down there was like 2.5 hours. We also went to like a winery. We were pretty damn exhausted. So that first night I was like, you know what, easy reading, we're gonna do a reread. And I reread Bound by Evita Weiss, and it is a super smutty monster romance, shifter kind of romance where this woman is, well, she's not a woman. I think she's like a harpy or something, and she's abducted, and her captors, it ends up being this like very consensual, non-consenty moment. And the reason I read that was because I had also recently purchased Vicious Devotion, which is the first, or might be the only full-length novel linked to this, and it goes right after it. It's talking more about like this woman that's been captured, and her, like, the reason she was captured, as well as like how she's being fit into this new pack, because they are all shifter, like animal shifters and things. I'm not gonna finish that in this vlog. I'm not gonna finish any books in this vlog because I'm getting sick, and I'll be completely honest, after reading super smut and then a lot of romance recently, I think I'm kind of smutted out. I think I'm pretty exhausted. Like, I need to get off the horny train and just like breathe for maybe like a month or a few weeks or something. I just feel like mentally drained by all these like intense, nasty books I've been reading lately. Some of them aren't even nasty. Some of them are just like romance, but it's just a lot of light stuff, and like, it's not typically what I read. Typically I'll like do some manga here and there, but they're very quick. Whereas like, I believe Vicious Devotion is like 500 pages. And so I'm gonna just read that over the next few weeks in between other things. I have taken my Mucinex, again, not really sponsored, but I'm gonna try to feel a little better and do some sewing tonight, but this is where we're gonna end the vlog. I know not a lot of reading was done. It was mostly just chilling. But again, thank you so much for watching. I will try to feel better and maybe film another vlog for you, and I will see you next time. Bye.